Hello everybody, welcome back to Module 2 for the Accelerated Jumpstart training on Office 365, Day 1. This is Module 2, Basic User Management. I have with me today on this module, Fulvio.
Hi everyone.
Fulvio Salanitro. You probably have seen him if you were joining Module 1. He answered all of the questions that came in. And he is, like Ajinka Pinto before, part of the partner technical consultant teams. So he is involved in every aspect from business development all the way to deployment of Office 365. He, like Ajinka, has passed all the exams, so he knows what he's talking about, knows the questions that are coming up, and will put this in a real-life concept. And his experience is across the board on all technologies. So SharePoint, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, passed a lot of exams, has a lot of certifications, and he is a frequent presenter in a lot of those events like Windows Partner Conference, for instance, that's in July. And he's delivering a lot of technical demos. This session is much more demo-focused compared to the previous session. And with that, I like to put it also in context of the agenda. So when you look at the Day 1 and Day 2, we have basic user management, followed by directory synchronization, Active Directory Federation services. That, together with Day 2, when you look at planning for infrastructure, deploying single sign-on, look at those as one block. So this will basically, those next two sessions will set you up for Day 2 and look at them as one block. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Fulvio and lead us into the session.
Thank you, Stefan, so much. I want also to suggest to attend also the session about planning and deploying DirSync tomorrow, that will close all the gap between Active Directory synchronization, ADFS, and so on. So you will have the big picture about the user management from the portal to the integration with Active Directory. So let's start with this module that is about basic user management. So we will understand, for example, how to use identities and user management in Office 365. So the different kind of identities, local, online identities. We will learn how to add a new domain, a new email domain in this case, to Office 365. We will then understand how to manage user using the Office 365 admin portal directly. So we'll do and have many demos during this session. And then in the last part of this session, we will cover how to configure our desktop to be ready for Office 365. So let's start with this this second module. So understanding identities. When we talk about identities in Office 365, we can work with two kinds of identities. The first one is called cloud identity, and the second one is called federated identity. What is the difference between the cloud identity and a federated identity? The first one, the cloud identity, is managed only using the Office 365 portal, so it's only online. You can work with Office 365, for example, only online without using an on-premise system. So we are speaking about, for example, Active Directories is just an example. We can work without an Exchange server local, so no coexistence at all. It's just an example. When we speak about, instead of federated identity, we have something more complex here. So, for example, we have an integration and a synchronization between our Office 365 tenant or subscription with a possible on-premise system. So, integration with Active Directory, synchronization between our user from our on-premise Active Directory and the Office 365 system. We will also have something like single sign-on using ADFS. We will discuss about that in a few minutes to understand better what is the difference between cloud identity and federating in a practical way. Let's continue. Oh, I have a question for you, Stefan.
Yeah,
in your opinion, when would be better to use a cloud identity?
Cloud identity? I would I would use it at home. I mean, there's not much to it, right? There's no infrastructure behind it.
It's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's a good question, and is a good answer also. It's a tricky question.
Trick question.
Yeah, cloud identity is nice to be used when you have a small organization, for example, or when you are at home, or if you have a small shop, for example, because you don't need to have nothing at home, as you said, or in your company. So no Active Directory, for example, no integration, no synchronization, nothing. You can manage your users only on the cloud, on the Office 365 portal.
So this aligns maybe with the P-plan that we talked previously about?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah. P-plan does not include, for example, directory synchronization or single sign-on. P-plan works only with cloud identity. Perfect. Oh, okay. We got many questions about these particular topics in the Q&A session before, so it's perfect.
All right.
So, just to have an overview of the possible way to manage identity with Office 365, we have three ways to manage identity with Office 365. We will focus in this particular session on the first row here, so cloud identity. With cloud identity, we say that we don't need an on-premise Active Directory. We will not sync our user with Office 365. We don't need to deploy any server inside our organization or home, as you said. We will not have any kind of single sign-on, for example. And we will need to manage, for example, two different credential and user system to access to Office 365. So maybe I could have my local Active Directory with my user and my password, and I can also have my user on Office 365 with a different password. There is no user and password synchronization here. This is the focus of this particular module. Then, let's continue. We can also implement cloud identity plus DirSync. We will talk about DirSync later during this session, or better, in the next module. And we will learn that DirSync is a software, is an application that will work inside my local domain, inside my Active Directory. And DirSync will take care of synchronizing user from my local Active Directory to Office 365. So we will have a sort of user synchronization between on-premise and online. The problem here, and is not a real problem, is that DirSync just synchronize user, username, user properties, but not, I remember that, not the password. So we will have the same user on the on-premise system and the online system, but we will have two different passwords in this case. So same user, different password. If we want to have to use the same password and the same credential to access to our local Active Directory, for example, and the Office 365 subscription or portal and so on, we need to go a bit further, a bit deeper, and implement what we call federated identity. So implement DirSync, that is a prerequisite, and also build the ADFS infrastructure to enable the single sign-on access between your company and Office 365. So here, in the third column, we will have the same username and the same password to access to Office 365. Make sense?
Yeah. So that's also a security feature, right?
It's also a security feature.
DirSync does not touch your password.
Yeah.
You need ADFS, so you separate this out, thus make it more secure.
It's perfect. Microsoft doesn't want your password.
Yeah.
You will keep your password with single sign-on ADFS inside your company. So it's an additional security layer for access. Okay, let's continue with this module. So we will focus on cloud identity in this particular session. Okay, how we can work with identities in Office 365. We learned in the previous slide that we can have a cloud or a federated identity. We can create users inside the Office 365 subscription in three particular ways. The first one is using the Microsoft Online portal. We will see a demo in a while. The second one is inside the Exchange Control panel. We will see just the guide during this session, but Ajinkya in the next module will show you how to create a user using the Exchange Control Panel. So we will have a demo also here. Then, when we need to create many users inside our organization, we could also import a CSV file, a formatted CSV file, with about 500 users at the same time, and import so many users using the Microsoft Online portal and the CSV file, for example. So bulk user import. Then we will have directory synchronization that will enable user to synchronize user between your Active Directory and Office 365. And then we can manage many services that are included in Office 365 with the PowerShell. So we can create also user using a PowerShell, for example, but we can also manage, for example, Exchange Online with the PowerShell. PowerShell at the moment is not included. We can't use PowerShell with Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, sorry, and Lync Online, only for user and administrative tasks, and with Exchange Online.
Oh, okay. I like scripting, as I mentioned in the previous module. Actually, I have a question here, even from posted a question, which is interesting, a little reaching forward into the hybrid scenario space. But when we talk about DirSync, can DirSync only take a portion of the Active Directory and sync it versus the whole
This
directory?
is a fantastic question. Okay, DirSync can do that, but it's not supported. Actually, DirSync will sync all the users that are inside the forest. So if you have an Active Directory forest with many child domain, we will sync all the users inside all the child domain too.
Okay.
At the moment, it's not possible. You can find somewhere on the internet many blogs, articles, so on that will tell you how to perform this particular task, but it's not officially supported at the moment.
Use at your own peril, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not officially supported. Maybe the next version we are working on it will support this kind of feature. Right. So this is important to know.
We'll take that feedback.
So the answer at the moment is no. Okay, let's continue with our presentation here. And let's see together how to work with domain, so how to add a domain inside Office 365 using the admin portal. These are the tasks that you need to perform to add a domain inside your Office 365 subscription. So you need to log on to the Microsoft Online portal, you need to click on domain, you need to add the domain, specify the domain name, and select how you want to verify the domain. We will see all this procedure in a demo in a few seconds. And in the end, you will need to work with your DNS administrator to add a verification DNS record to your DNS maintainer. Okay? We received here a good question before when I was handling the Q&A session. It was interesting. Right. With Office 365, I can add as many domains as I want. So if I have a company with contoso.com, contoso.eu, for example, or IT, like my country, and so on, you can have multiple domains inside your Office 365 subscription. And a user can have the main address in his email address, so Fulvio at something, and can have also multiple, let me say that, aliases. So a main address with multiple aliases divided in different domains. Right.
So one forest, as many domains as you like.
Yeah, one forest for Active Directory synchronization, as many domains as you like for email routing. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, let's see together how to add a domain inside our Office 365 subscription. So let's connect to our Office 365 subscription here. This is the main Office 365 portal, so portal.microsoftonline.com. I need to access to the portal using admin credential. This is normal. So Fulvio, give me just a second here, because I need to find, okay. Okay, I just entering my name here.
Again, the password is asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.
No, it's not
12.
It's not so easy. Okay, the username and password is wrong. Give me just a second. Okay. We are accessing to the Office 365 portal in this moment, and I logged in with admin credentials. So I have access, I get access to this particular area, the admin area. And I've been recognized as an administrator. So I can perform many administrative operations and tasks inside my subscription. This is normal and easy. Okay, let's add a domain to our Office 365 subscription. This is easy again. We have a column here with many possible options and tasks. I need to select domain here. As you can see, there is an active domain here that is the one that is provided directly by Microsoft when you set up the subscription. So when you create a trial of Office 365, for example, or when you buy a subscription of Office 365, P, E, whenever you want, you will get, you need to choose an internal domain that will be something.onmicrosoft.com. You need to verify that that something has been not already used by someone else. Okay? You can delete this domain because it's used directly by Microsoft and also is used also by hybrid configuration in Exchange coexistence. Okay. So keep this domain. But you can add as many domains as you want to our Office 365 subscription, as we said. Here we have already a domain that is my365lab.info and is already verified. To add a domain to the subscription, it's really easy. What you need to do is just to click Add a Domain and give me a domain name.
Domain name?
Yeah.
An existing one?
Try.
Microsoft.com.
This would be hard. Okay, let's do it. Microsoft.com. This could raise a good question, Microsoft.com, because when I insert a domain name inside my subscription, like in this case, I need to verify in some way with Microsoft and with the Office 365 system that I'm the real owner of the domain. So in this case, this could be a problem. Yeah. Because the next step after I insert here Microsoft.com will be next to perform some operation on the DNS system of my maintainer. So if I click here on the drop-down menu, I have many famous maintainer for the America, I believe. And if I click on one of it, I will get the instruction to configure and verify my domain with Office 365. What I suggest you is to, in the beginning at least, is to select the general instruction here. Okay? So, if I want to verify Microsoft.com, for example, I will need to log on to my maintainer portal, access to the DNS management system, and add a TXT record with this particular value. That is, okay. I have another system, another possibility to verify the ownership of a domain inside Office 365. The second possibility is not a TXT record, but is an MX record. Okay, so I will get here a different value that is no more TXT, but is MX in this case. And inserting this particular value inside the portal, I can prove the ownership of a specific domain. Okay? The problem here, because we have also problems, is that not all the maintainer will support the .invalid sentence word.
Okay.
So you need to choose the right method. TXT usually is it's easy. You can also add an MX record, but not all the maintainer will support this particular record. Okay, so this is important. TXT is the easier. MX is an option, but it's not so common. Okay. What else? Okay, we are creating an MX record here. This will not impact in any way your actual mail routing system. So if you have already an exchange in your company, for example, or if you are working with a third party, for example, if you add this MX record, this will not impact in any way the mail flow. So no problem at all. Okay? We are not changing any setting to your current mail flow. Just verifying the domain to be used with Office 365. Okay, this is easy?
Very simple, very easy.
Okay,
Great.
let's come back. Okay, when I complete the procedure on the maintainer portal, I need to click here in the verify area. Okay, if I try to verify my domain now, I will get that the DNS record is not does not exist, because
right.
I don't think I can work on DNS for the Microsoft domain so easily, at least.
Yeah, there's many people working on this, not us.
No, Okay, let's come back. So, when I complete instead the procedure changing the DNS setting on the maintainer, I will get something like this. So my domain and the status will be verified. We will see later during the day with Aginkia how to perform these particular steps directly on the maintainer portal. So we will see GoDaddy, for example, how to configure these particular settings. Right. Okay. If I want to know more about DNS management in Office 365 and DNS setting, I can just click on the domain name, like in this case, and then view DNS setting. If I want to move all my mail system, Lync, and so on to Office 365, I will need to perform many operations on the DNS maintainer portal. All the settings that I need to change are listed here. So we have settings for Exchange Online, Lync, and so on. We will discuss and learn more about this particular settings during these 3 days. Right. It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue with our presentation here. And now we will learn how to head a domain using the PowerShell. Because, as we said before, we can work also with the PowerShell to head a domain, for example, to our Office 365 subscription. I can create user, I can change setting, I can do many important things using PowerShell. One of these operations is heading a domain to our Office 365 subscription. This is really easy. I just need to launch the PowerShell on my computer, on my client computer also. It's not a problem. I don't need a server here. I need to download the PowerShell module that is on the Office 365 portal. And then I need to connect, I need to import before the Microsoft Online module inside my PowerShell. I need to connect to the Microsoft Online services. It's an easy command here. So connect my MSO service. I will be asked here for admin credential to connect to Office 365 because I need to be an administrator to perform administrative tasks inside my subscription. Makes sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is easy. I will have a mask here. I will need to put inside my username and my password. Okay, then I just need to type an easy command: new MSO domain name. The name of the domain. So, for example, could be Microsoft.com. As you can see here, the domain is in status unverified, like before, because I just added the domain to the Office 365 subscription, but at the moment the domain is not verified, like before.
Right.
Okay. What I need to do now is launch and type a different command to get the TXT record, like before. Before we got the TXT record on the portal, now we are getting the TXT record through the PowerShell. Okay? So the command this time is get MSO domain verification DNS, the name of the domain, mod DNS TXT record. So I will get a TXT, it's easy. Yeah. I will get a new record, a new TXT record, that is the one that I'm underlining at the moment. And I need to create a new TXT record again on the panel provided by GoDaddy, for example, or another maintainer. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's continue. This time we will continue in doing something different. So we will start working with users. We added a domain to our subscription, and now we will work to add users to our subscription. So I have a domain that is already working with my subscription. Let's create user for it. So first step will be log on to the Microsoft Online portal, click on users, click on new user, and then define user detail option and configuration. Let's see that using the real portal. So again, here we are on the Office 365 portal. Let's click on Users. As you can see, we have many users that are already inside the subscription. There are many colleagues here, and there should be also my own account, that is this one. Okay? What we are going to do now is to create another user, a new user, just using the portal, nothing else. So, as we said, it's easy. Just click on New here, and then select User. Stefan, okay? Last name, I don't want to give you your last name for privacy.
It's on the slide, but it's
on the slide, yeah.
I take the XXX.
Stefan again as username. As you can see here, when we create the user, if we already added our domain to Office 365, we can also select that domain. So we have, by default, the Microsoft domain, that is a test domain, a trial domain. If you want to test Office 365, you can use this domain without any problem. We added before, just a few seconds ago, a domain to Office 365. We verified also this domain, and we can use it for our users, for Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, and so on. Okay?
So, when you create this, let me ask you this, when you create this user with the live domain, with the Active Directory domain that you attached to with the MX or TXT record, can I still go back and do the test domain, as I call it, on the Microsoft.com domain?
Okay,
will the user work for both?
Makes sense. When you create one user, you can select the domain that you want. In each moment, in every moment, you can change your domain.
So when
wait, sorry for that. This is easy if you are managing users with the cloud identity. If you work instead with on-premise system and you implement a single sign-on, directory synchronization, and so on, it's a bit different because the master operation will be the on-premise system. So your user will be synchronized with the same domain name that you have on-premise.
All right.
Okay. You can't.
Very important point. Yes.
Okay. It's really important. Good question.
Thanks for clarifying.
No problem. Another important information here is that, as you can see, we have GPS demo 01, that is the Microsoft domain, my previous verified domain, that is my365lab.info, but we don't have Microsoft.com.
Because we haven't verified it yet, right?
Perfect.
Right? So you're not allowed to use it.
Perfect. You can't use a domain until you verify it. Makes sense.
All right. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Let's continue. So we define just your name, your last name, display name, username, no problem. You can also add additional detail to your user settings, for example. So job title, department, office number, so on. It's optional, okay? Let's continue. Then I need to assign a role to my user. What does it mean? It means that my users inside the Office 365 subscription can have different roles to manage and to access to the services. So one user could be an administrator, and another one could be, for example, a simple user. So just to clarify, we can have the tenant admin that has full power, full permission inside our subscription and can perform every operation. Configuration, setting, billing, everything. And then we have the lowest level of user, that is end user. So you can only access to the services if you have a service assigned to your user. So we will see in a while that after we create a user, we need to assign a license or a specific service. Okay? So it's really important to know the minimum let me say that the minimum permission that you need to have to perform some operations. So if you need to be a tenant admin, a service support admin, or an end user to perform a specific operation, because it's important. Okay?
Is there a limit to how many admins you can have?
No. This is nice also because this gives you flexibility. You can have as many administrators as you want. So,
great.
Okay? Let's continue with our demo here. Okay, so here I can select, for example, my role. billing administrator, global administrator, password administrator, the roles that we saw a few seconds ago in the table. If I select, for example, a global administrator, I will need to insert here an alternative email address to recover my password just in case I will forget my password. Many cases that were opened to the Microsoft support were related to oh, I forgot my password, my admin password. In this way,
that never happens.
Yeah. in this way, an administrator can ask to send back to this additional email address a temporary new password to access again to Office 365. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's come back. So this will be a regular standard user, nothing more. Set user location here again. This is important because Office 365 is not available in all the countries all around the world. This is really important. So for example here, if I select a particular country, like for example, let's say Iraq, for example, if I click on next and I assign a license, okay, we have a plan K2 here and a plan E3 here, okay. If I click on the plan A3, for example, that include Office Professional Plus, Lync Online, Office Web App, SharePoint and Exchange, and I click next, oh, the service like Lync Online Plan 2, for example, and some features that are included in Exchange Online Plan 2 are not available for one user that is located in Iran, for example, for different reasons. Okay, if I select, for example, my own country, that is Italy, feeling just like home, and I click next, I can reassign all the services without any problem. Okay, makes sense?
Perfect.
When I create one user here, inside using the portal, the user or the address that I will provide here will receive a temporary password. So when I create a user, there will be a temporary password that will be on our screen in a few seconds. Okay, is this one. So the user can access, Stefan in this case, can access to the system using this temporary password, and then after the first access, he must change the password because you as administrator don't need to know his password.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's come back. Okay, so we created the new user here that is Stefan. Okay, makes sense. In every moment, I can log on to the Office 365 portal as an administrator and reset, for example, the password for Stefan. Okay, because I'm an administrator, I can reset the password. You will receive a temporary password again to access to the service. I can also edit Stefan properties. So I can, for example, change his detail or also change his role. So for example, Stefan can become an administrator, is an example. Or for example, something else. This is a good question. I received before a question in the Q&A panel that was about licenses. Okay. If I assign a license to an user, if I can later change the plan, yes, I can change in every moment the plan that is assigned to a specific user. Just clicking on it, it's easy. The most important thing is that you can swap from plan A1 to A4 and between plan K1 and K2 without any problem. So I can switch my user from plan A1 to A4 and then to K2 without any problem. But I can't switch one user from plan P to one of these. So when you create your subscription, a trial, or you are buying a subscription, please double check that you are buying the right subscription. So or plan P or A, select before. So okay.
K and E, lots of flexibility.
Yeah.
K and E to P, no flexibility, and also switching users.
No upgrade path. No upgrade path. No support direct from Microsoft in switching from one plane P to A or key. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So before we move off creating users, I have a question here in the queue from Tim that I think is very interesting. When you create your users manually in Office 365, Can you later on still use DirSync?
Great question again. Yes, we can do that. We will cover that, I believe, tomorrow in one of the modules that are related to DirSync in particular. So in the afternoon tomorrow.
Stand by for day 2.
For day 2, but the answer is yes. There is an option in DirSync that is called soft sync. We will see tomorrow how it's possible to start with cloud identities and then sync back using DirSync. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
So the answer is yes. Okay, let's continue with our presentation here. So we already assigned a role to our user. We assigned already a location, a license, and then we received also temporary temporary password with the email. Let's continue. We can also, for example, creating a user in bulk, as we said in the real beginning of this presentation. So again, I just need to go on the Microsoft Online portal in the admin area, click on user, click on new user, and then use the bulk add. Okay, so I can import a CSV file, a text file that is particularly formatted with many information in it. We will see that in a while, and create in a flash many users inside my subscription. It's nice. Let's see that. So again, I'm on the Office 365 portal. Okay, I click on new and bulk add. Here in this area, I should upload a CSV file that is a text file particularly formatted that include my users and my users' properties like name, surname, last name, mail address, department, so on. If we want to see an example of the CSV file, we can just click here, download a sample of CSV file. Few seconds. Open. Okay, this is in Excel. As you can see here, we have username, first name, last name, and so on. We have all the email addresses, first name, and so on. Just for your information, I can also open this CSV file, for example, using TextPad. Maybe it's easier in the real beginning to understand the structure of the CSV file. So I will save it on my desktop, and I will open it in Notepad this time. Give me just a second. Open with Notepad. As you can see, it's a comma limited file. So username, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma, and so on. It's easy again. Okay, let's come back to our portal here. Okay, we have an example of the CSV file, but if I want an empty blank CSV file, I can download it directly here from here. Okay, then from this area I can upload the CSV file and upload up to 500 users at the same time. It's not so bad. Okay, let's come to the presentation, like here. We have another way to create our users that is using Exchange Control Panel. It's easy. We need to go log on to the Microsoft Online portal in the admin area. We need to access to the Exchange Online portal, or better panel, admin panel. Click on Manage, New User Mailbox, and enter all the information. We will see a demo about that with a Jinkia later, in a module later, this one, during the afternoon, about Exchange Online. It's important to know that you can create users also using the Exchange Control Panel. This is the important thing.
Before we move on to the next step, there's a poll for everybody asking about your user role. Just hit escape and go out and complete that poll if you have a second, and give us some feedback there. Thank you.
Perfect.
So
let's continue.
Continuing with what you had here.
It's interesting to know their role.
Absolutely. We want to know where you come from and what you do.
Interesting. Okay, let's continue. We said that we can create users using Exchange Control Panel, for example. Let's continue. We can also create a new user, for example, using the PowerShell.
I was waiting for that.
Again.
Scripting.
Yes, scripting. You like it.
Absolutely.
PowerShell is really, really powerful. It's better for you to have a look of all the module that and PowerShell commands that are included inside the Microsoft Online PowerShell to better understand what you can do and what you can't do. So many operations that you can perform, for example, are creating user, changing user properties, assign a license, set the user password to never expire, for example, is important also.
Oh, great.
In this case, we are just creating one user. So again, launching PowerShell, importing the Microsoft Online module, connect to the Microsoft Online service. So again, my credential as an administrator. Okay. And then the command here is easy again. New Microsoft Online user, user principal name will be the user logon name. So this is a bit complex here in the PowerShell screenshot. Display name, so the name that will appear. Last name, first name, and so on. As you can see in the screenshot, there will be again here a temporary password. So the user, when will log on for the first time, we will need to change his password. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And another important information here is that we created the user using the PowerShell, but we still haven't assigned any license. So if you see on the PowerShell on the area is licensed is false. So actually the user is there, but has no services assigned.
Is that something I can do through scripting too?
Yes. You can, for example, create 10 users using a PowerShell and later or on the same time assign a particular service. It's nice. Scripting.
And I think you just answered the other question is you can create one user with PowerShell. Can you create multiple users to bulk add?
You can script.
And you can, as you said.
And you can, for example, create the user with the PowerShell and then assign the license using the portal. So you can mix. Okay?
Great.
Let's continue. We are more or less in the end of this particular module. Let's see together how one user can access to Office 365 after that he got the license and the license to access to a specific or a particular service. So, for example, I created the user Stefan before. Stefan, to access to our Office 365 subscription or service, we'll need to perform some steps and operation. The most important one is to install on his desktop, for example, the Office 365 desktop setup tool that will check the status of the machine. So all the software that is installed in that specific computer, so the Office version, the Office Service Pack version, the Windows version, and so on, and will install also all the required components to work with Office 365, so potential service pack, roll-up update, important, let me say, components that are required to work with Office 365. So it's an easy step, fast step, but really suggested. I'm using the word suggested because it's not required, it's strongly suggested. You can work with Office 365 without running this tool. But this will help a lot in avoiding potential errors. Okay? Let's continue with platform requirement for Office 365. We spoke about that with the Jinkia in the previous module. What I want to underline here, and this is really important, is that on the first column we have many Microsoft operating systems, like from something like 10 years of operating system. We start with XP Service Pack 3. And we end with Windows 7. So 10 years more or less of Microsoft operating system, but the big change from BPOS, the previous version of our online services suite, is that now Office 365 works also with XP Home Edition. Previously, BPOS was working only with XP Pro Edition. Okay, this is a big change here again. So imagine, for example, how many netbooks there are all around the world. All the netbooks that are using XP Home will work with Office 365. Okay,
excellent.
This is important. Then we have Mac. We have macOS X version 10.5. So Leopard, Snow Leopard, Lion. So again, here we have 7 years of Mac operating system that will work with Office 365. You should ask me something here. We are forgetting Other operating system, for example?
Linux, maybe?
Linux, perfect.
Unix.
What about Linux? As we said, Office 365 is a multi-platform system. So it will run on Microsoft operating system, it will run on macOS, for example. For Linux, okay, it's not a problem. We can access to most of the components that are included in Office 365, for example, using the web browser. So, for example, Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, and so on. So if I'm, for example, a Linux user, I can access to Office 365 using Firefox, Chrome, without any problem. I can access to SharePoint, checking my mail using, for example, OWA. No problem at all. From the Office client requirements instead, it's important to underline that you will need to use at least Office 2007 Service Pack 2 and above. So if you have users that are still using Office 2003, we need to work, you, partner, and customer, we will need to work to try to change your Office version to a newer one. Here, a good idea could be maybe evaluate to buy Office Professional Plus that is included inside Office 365 as a single service, or in plan, for example, E3 or E4. If you don't have the right Office version, you can have also that one using a plan that includes everything with you. Right. We have also Lync for Mac, Lync 2010, Communicator for Mac, Lync for Mac, and recently, at the end of the last year, we released also Lync for Windows Mobile, Windows Phone, Windows Phone 7, iOS, for example, and Android. So
yep. iPhone and iPad is covered now.
Yeah, also iPad, perfect. Yep. That's true. What is important to underline before leaving this slide is that we will support Internet Explorer starting from version 7, not version 6, because version 6 is outdated now, it's getting old, and is not able to render some content that is provided inside SharePoint, for example, or the admin portal that is included in Office 365. So starting from Internet Explorer 7 or more. Okay? Right. What I want you to show you now before leaving is where to get the desktop setup assistant, so the program that will help you to configure your desktop machine to access to Office 365, and eventually where to download your Office Professional Plus software that maybe is included inside your subscription. You can buy Office 2010 Professional Plus as a single service, for example, or you can have it inside the E3 plan or E4 plan. Let's see that. So I'm just a regular user this time, so I go to the Home tab that is reserved to end user. As you can see here, I have the access to my Outlook, my mail web access. I can install Lync directly from here. I can access to SharePoint directly from here, but in this area, the download area here, I can to download all the software that is included inside my license. So if I have, for example, an E3 plan, I have Microsoft Professional Plus, and I can download it in many languages. As you can see, there are many, and in two versions, 32 and 64-bit. Okay, the same for Lync. And after I installed on my desktop Office Professional Plus, Outlook, Lync, and so on, I can run the Office desktop app to help me to configure Outlook 2007 or 2010 and my computer to work with Office 365. So before I install the software, then I configure it using the Office desktop app. Okay? I can also, and this is the last information of this module, set up my Mac, and I can also install, as we said before, all the required update manually going to this page. So here there are all the information that are required to configure my desktop to work with Office 365. So my suggestion is, where possible, to use the desktop configurator. If not, if I can't, for example, I can manually configure it. if, last information again, I access to this page using a Mac, I will see here just the link for Mac, because actually Office Professional Plus is provided only for Microsoft operating system at the moment. So I believe that we reached the end of the presentation, the module.
Great, thank you, Fulvio. Thank you for giving us a good insight into how to create users, how to assign licenses, all the different ways of doing it, bulk editing, scripting, and that basically sets it up for the next module.
Yeah.
Directory synchronization, Active Directory Federation services. Thank you so much for joining us for this module 2, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, see you in a while.
Thank you.